Welcome to Lesson 3 of Dr. Hyman's 12-step guide to writing the research paper, the overview. In this lesson, we will review Step 6, gathering sources, and Step 7, taking notes. Step 6, gathering those sources. Your research will include primary and secondary sources. About the primary sources. Primary sources are original documents such as novels, a play, a movie, a photograph, the results from an experiment, an interview, a patient's chart. You will also have secondary sources. Now, secondary sources provide an analysis of the primary sources. This may include a critical paper, a report on a speech, a review of a scientific finding, or an analysis of a patient's chart. Look at all the types of sources that you can use, and I do not have all of them listed, I must admit. But of course, you can have a scholarly book or a book from popular culture, a newspaper article, a biography, as well as an autobiography, a DVD, a CD, an experiment, an interview. Don't limit yourself. You can even use Instagram or TikTok as a source. You have to evaluate your sources. The researcher must choose sources carefully. Just think. Think about your topic very, very specifically. Think about how you may use the source. Choose those sources wisely. The type of sources, of course, that you select for your project will depend on your topic. Example, a researcher who is examining the media representations concerning the murder of Emmett Till will possibly select sources from popular culture, magazines, newspaper articles that have been written on the case, about the case, CDs, DVDs. You may find a movie about Emmett Till, or you can use a YouTube presentation. However, if you were writing a paper on the poetry of Langston Hughes and the theme of freedom, you could consult scholarly journals. You may also use sources in your research, depending upon your topic, from scientific journals. Example, a paper examining the research findings on COVID-19, you would probably use scholarly journals. However, a paper on the feelings about receiving the vaccine by people between a certain age group, for instance, in their 60s, you certainly could interview people. When selecting your sources for your paper, you want to look closely at the content. Example, an article. Examine the title of the article. Read the author's note or the author's short bio. If the source is a printed text, I always read the first paragraph and the last paragraph, and I evaluate those. And then I look at the works cited or the reference page very, very carefully because that might point me to other sources. Choose your non-print sources carefully also. If your research concerns references to Rosa Parks, pictures appearing in newspapers, do you need this picture? As you think about that, I would like to share with you how to evaluate books. Example, if you are evaluating a book, Examine the title of the book. Is the author an authority on the subject? Look at the table of contents. Look at the index, which is found in the back of the book. Look at the copyright date. If it is in a scientific article, you want to make sure you're current. The place of publication, and then, of course, look at the blurbs. What have other people said about the book? Now, you have gathered those sources, and now you're ready to take notes, which is step 7. Taking good notes is very important because these notes, and I cannot say this enough, these notes will become the content for your paper. So make sure you take notes very carefully and document every note card, every direct quote, every paraphrase note card, every summary note card. And then, if you have a thought, and I know that you will, about your topic, your researcher's thoughts, that is a very important note card. So let's look at this sample note card. I have purchased my 3x5 cards. I have the section of the outline that I'm working in. The type of card, is this a direct quote? Is it a paraphrase? Is it my own idea? Is it a summary? And then the card number. Now make sure if it's a paraphrase or direct quote, you need documentation. You need a bibliography card for this note card. Remember, the bibliography represents the address from which you have retrieved the quote or the paraphrase. Taking notes. Now, if you do not want to use the old-fashioned 3x5 cards, you may also create notes using the table feature in Microsoft Word as the format to develop the cards. Note, you need a bibliography card for each group of note cards from a source. So, for instance, if I have taken 5 direct quotes from, let's say, the late Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s book, Stride Towards Freedom. I have 5 direct quotes from his book. I need 1 bibliography card with all of the bibliographic information on that card for that book. Congratulations! You have completed taking notes for your research paper. See you in the next lesson.